So we are getting ready for kick-off here at Wembley. The full time's coming up, a full classified check coming up after 5:30 on Talksport. But right now, we've got an FA Cup semi-final for you live on Talksport. It's Championship against Premier League. It's Njai against Haaland, Heckingbottom against Guardiola. It's Sheffield United against Manchester City with a man who scored in an FA Cup semi-final and a final, Stuart Pearce, alongside your commentator on Talksport, Jim Proudfoot.
Manchester City have lost in the semi-finals in each of the last 3 seasons. Sheffield United have reached the semis only 4 times in the last 30 years, but they've lost their last 5. One of them will make it through to the final. Who will it be? I'll run through the 2 teams for you in a moment. Sheffield United, red and white striped shirts, black shorts. Haaland immediately putting pressure on the Blades back line, pressure that was survived by Jack Robinson. And it's Manchester City have Ortega in goal, Walker, Akanji, Laporte and Sergio Gomez, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan and Grealish, Alvarez and Haaland. Sheffield United Fotheringham in goal, Ahmed Odzic, Egan and Robinson, Baldock, Berger, Norwood, Fleck and Lowe, and Njai and Jebison up front. Stuart Pearce alongside me will keep you up to date with all of the goals as they go in the Premier League and the pertinent games in the EFL. As Sheffield United win an early corner, there's been a goal for Cameron Pope.
And there's been a goal for Wigan Athletic. They lead 2-1 with 5 minutes to go. Tello Osgod on off the bench. It looks like the Latics are extending their stay in the Championship for another week. Wigan 2, Millwall 1.
Yeah, with the other results going as they are, Wigan have to win today. But they are leading by 2-1 at home to Millwall. Here comes the Sheffield United corner then. Plenty of pushing and shoving around the edge of the area. It's Egan that knocks it down. It's a good save from Ortega. Everybody appealing for an offside flag that didn't come. Really well worked Blade set piece. Egan nodding it down. And the man with his head in his hands in the midfield is Njai. What a chance, Stuart Pearce.
It was a fantastic chance. Great build-up earlier on. It was Egan's long ball for Baldock in behind. That forced the corner. And from that moment on, when the ball come in, really well worked out swinger. And 2 touch from Njai. And the goalkeeper done well. I think, he should have done better. He should have finished it. Either side of the goalkeeper, Sheffield have won up.
Brilliant opportunity for Iliman Njai. A warning shot across the bows of Manchester City in these early stages as Walker tries to release Haaland. And Bogle will be able to clear. Bernardo Silva picking it up. And now Walker will flick it forward, nudge it down the touchline. Silva has it again and finds Walker once more. And he wins a throw. And let's go to the G-Tech. Brentford against Villa. Ollie Kling.
Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1. Late equaliser for Villa. A cross from the left from Luca Digne wasn't dealt with, and Douglas Luiz was there to slam it home and maybe rescue a point for Villa. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1.
1-1 there with 3 minutes to go. We're barely 3 minutes in here at Wembley. First side of goal going Sheffield United's way. 0-0 though in the first of these FA Cup semi-finals. Sergio Gomez for Manchester City, recalled to the side today, has featured in a few of the domestic cup ties this season. Loose ball down towards the Manchester City right, but Walker, a former Sheffield United player and Sheffield boy, has got time to pick it up. Goes back to his goalkeeper, who's put under pressure by Jebison. But Manchester City can calmly play their way out of harm's way. 0-0.
Yeah, Sheffield will be very, very pleased with their start, forcing the first save from Ortega. And the way they've approached the game, they've certainly got the ball forward when they possibly can, but also as well showed great composure at the back by putting their foot on it and moving it across the back line when they've had time to do so.
A couple of big goals in the National League. Altrincham have equalised at home to Torquay. Maidenhead have equalised at home to Barnet. 2-2 and 1-1 respectively in those games, and that changes the whole complexion of things down in the bottom 4 or 5. Manchester City bring it forward. Bernardo Silva with a layoff. Akanji on halfway. Just take it out of the centre circles, waiting for a few options to arrive. He plays it down into the shadow over on the far touchline, the Manchester City left, where Sergio Gomez has it. Crossfield pass from him, looking for Bernardo Silva. Killed perfectly and just nudged inside for Kyle Walker. Walker trying to side-foot it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. It's cleared again by Iliman Njai, but he can't find Jebison. And Ilkay Gundogan will win it back for Manchester City. Played forward by him. Alvarez just emerging with the ball as he brought down. The referee, Stuart Atwell, says no. And Sheffield United are able to bring it away, but Gundogan will pick it up calmly, get his foot on the ball in the midfield again.
Yeah, Sheffield United just dropping back into that solid 5-3-2 out of possession, keeping play in front of them as best they can, and City are just probing at the moment, just looking for those little gaps and slide rule balls through the lines if they can.
Bristol City lead Rotherham by 2-1. Andy Vyman in stoppage time at Ashton Gate. And Manchester City again bringing it forward. Gomez across the edge of the D on the edge of the penalty area. Walker now down towards Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez with an opportunity to try and take on Lowe. And his cross comes in and it's knocked away, and then the referee spots an infringement off the ball. A little shove on Jefferson. There'll be a free kick which will be taken by the Blades inside their own half. Really good tempo about the opening 5 minutes here.
It's been really good, Jim. As I say, it's been an open game as well. Both teams comfortable on the ball. City, as you would expect, but certainly United coming into this game full of confidence with their league campaign behind them and sitting in a brilliant position in the Championship. So they'll have no worries about taking City on.
And there's been another goal. This one at Turf Moor. Andy Buckley.
Burnley 1, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Chris Martin, the substitute, has scored with 3 minutes to go. A glancing header. Burnley 1, Queen's Park Rangers 2.
That'll be a massive win for QPR, who've only had 2 victories in the last 28 games. Sheffield United on the front foot again. Inside the penalty area, shot from a tight angle. Just goes into the side netting. But Njai and Jebison back together in tandem today. Now, Jebison's injury means that's only happened a couple of times since January, but they've already shown very good signs of a decent cohesive attacking partnership for Sheffield United.
Yeah, I think, Jim, it's nice to see a team playing with 2 up front. Obviously playing the 3-5-2 scenario enables Sheffield to do that. Sometimes teams take City on with a lone striker so isolated that he hardly gets a touch of the ball, but certainly working in tandem, the pair of them looking very good at the moment.
Gundogan. Now Walker down towards Bernardo Silva, and he's got the opportunity just to bring it forward towards the edge of the Sheffield United penalty area. Turns it onto his left foot and sends a spinning ball wide out to Jack Grealish. His pass just slightly behind Sergio Gomez, but these are the Sergio Gomez to get it back. Grealish taking it down towards the dead ball line, back for Gomez. Gomez rifling one in, but the Blades with enough bodies back able to get it away with Ahmed Odzic. Walker, and his ball just a little bit too straight, and straight through to Wes Foderingham, who was sent off in Sheffield United's game at Burnley. Hasn't played since. He's served his ban. A couple of games his suspension because it was his second red card of the season, and so he's back between the sticks with Adam Davis, who started 3 of the FA Cup ties in this run, dropping back down to the bench today. Walker's got it for Manchester City. 7.5 minutes in. Second of these FA Cup semi-finals is coming your way tomorrow, as Manchester United, I beg your pardon, meet Brighton. It's a 4:30 kickoff tomorrow, and it is live on Talksport. Here's Walker forward towards Alvarez, who's got the time to turn in the midfield. Right back by Mahrez. He's flicked it off low and out of play from Manchester City throw. City dominating possession as everybody expected to be the case. Sheffield United already showing their ability from set pieces and counter-attacks. That ability from set pieces has been a fundamental part of their season and in this cup run as well. And that scramble late equaliser that they got against Wrexham. And coming from a set piece, John Egan scoring that in the 6th minute of stoppage time. Full-time whistles are beginning to blow around the country. It is all over at Anfield. Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. Matt Jones.
A remarkable game. Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 2. Diogo Jota twice giving the Reds the lead, only for Nico Williams to equalise on the first occasion, and then Morgan Gibbs-White to make it 2-2 before Mo Salah met Alexander-Arnold's free kick to make it 3-2. Forest did hit the bar late on, but they couldn't quite find another equaliser. Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 2.
Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Can't get himself into a position for a cross, but the Blades clearance goes out of play for a throw. So Liverpool beating Nottingham Forest by 3-2. Fulham 2, Leeds 1 in the live game that we brought you from Craven Cottage at lunchtime here on Talksport. They're still playing at Brentford, 1 apiece there. Palace 0, Everton 0. Leicester still leading by 2-1 at home to Wolves. Sheffield United again able to get it away, but it's a hopeful ball play forward. Past Jebison, now to play for a throw that Emerick Laporte will take. It is full time now at Selhurst. Jake Robson.
Palace 0, Everton 0. A good point for Everton. Palace, you expected more from him, though, to be honest. Holgate was sent off in the 88th minute. Everton drop into the bottom three. Palace's 3-game winning run comes to an end. Palace 0, Everton 0.
And full time as well at Leicester. Jeff Peters.
Well, Leicester have beaten Wolves 2-1. They move out of the relegation zone on goal difference. Timothy Castagna with the 75th minute winner, finishing off the best move of the game after Iheanacho's penalty cancelled out Cunha's early goal. Wolves 6 points above trouble. Leicester 2, Wolves 1.
It is full time at Blackpool in the Championship. It's a big win for Blackpool at Birmingham. And that means that Blackpool live to fight another day. This one 0-0, the FA Cup semi-final, the North London Sunshine, with Bernardo Silva in possession for Manchester City. The play back to Walker. And Walker under pressure from the left wing back low, just made his way forward to just engage with Kyle Walker. But Walker able to maintain easy possession, working towards Akanji, and Manchester City will slowly bring it forward from the back.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Sheffield United so far. I think it's really important the job that Berg and Fleck do, playing either side of that midfield three, getting across and doubling up in the when City get the ball to their wide players. As I say, they're getting across to double up. We're low on the left-hand side and Bulldog on the right, just to stop Mahrez and Grealish exposing the wing-backs.
Ilkay Gundogan sending it out to his left-hand side for Emerick Laporte. And the boost from the Sheffield United fans will tell you it's Jack Grealish in possession. He's played it back towards Gundogan. Gundogan thought about getting himself into a shooting position. He's about 35 yards out. He's worked it out to the left-hand side of the penalty area instead. Now he's that little bit closer to goal, and he gets it back from Grealish. Sergio Gomez joins in this three-man Manchester City attack for a moment. Then he sweeps it in, and it's headed away for the first Manchester City corner of the day.
Yeah, as I said, that combination there, Berg just sliding across, just doubling up, it gives that little bit of security inside and stops Grealish coming back and opening the goal up on the left-hand side, and Mahrez on the right-hand side. And what I do like about Sheffield, they've got a little bit of pace up front as well, Jim, you know, on the counter-attack, and Diane Jebison certainly have got the ability to work the channels.
At 12 minutes gone, it is full-time at Brentford. We'll be there in a moment. Riyad Mahrez is going to take this corner for Manchester City. Swung in towards Haaland, but beaten to it. Headed away. It'll be another corner. And let's get full-time from Brentford. Ollie Klink.
It's finished. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1. Douglas Luiz with a late equaliser to rescue a point for Villa. Ivan Toney gave Brentford the lead just after the hour mark, but Luiz slammed home 3 minutes from time to earn Villa a draw. They stay 6th. Brentford slipped to 10th. It's finished at the G-Tech. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1.
Manchester City's second corner comes in. And is headed out by the Blades back lines. The City player's gone down injured inside the 6-yard box. We'll get home park full-time details then from John Roeder.
Plymouth 3, Cambridge 1. It was 1-1 at the break, but second half goals from Joe Edwards and Niall Ennis won it for Argyle, who remain top of League One. They need 5 points from their remaining 3 to be promoted. Plymouth 3, Cambridge 1.
And full-time at Peterborough 2, Ian Stringer.
And Ipswich fans are reaching for the calculators as well. Jim, Peterborough 0, Ipswich 3. Goals from Burns, Chaplin and Ladepo seal the 3 points. Ipswich way too good in this one. Full-time, Peterborough 0, Ipswich 3.
Kyle Walker for Manchester City. He's midway between the halfway line and the edge of the Sheffield United penalty area. Just exchanging passes with Mahrez and then played back inside his own half for Akanji, who will turn and take it right to the right-hand touchline before working it for Bernardo Silva, flicking it on. Sheffield United win it back, and Robinson will turn it back to the edge of his own penalty area. It is full-time at the DW. Cameron Pope.
Wigan 2, Millwall 1. The hosts prolong their battle against the drop for another week with goals from Will Keane and Tello Orsgaard. A hit to Millwall's playoff hopes. They're 6th with Blackburn, West Brom and Sunderland ready to overtake. Wigan 2, Millwall 1.
Leighton Orient, a beaten Crew, and our champions of League 2. Congratulations to Richie Wellens and his staff there. Here's Ilkay Gundogan. Play forward towards Kyle Walker. 4 from Walker to Bernardo Silva. Silva under a little bit of pressure in the midfield. 2 Blades around him, but he just turned, pirouetted, and flicked it down towards Silva. Try and get Alvarez in. He's detailed himself against John Egan in these early stages. Manchester City yet to get Haaland into a shooting position. 48-goal man still waiting for his first opportunity. Manchester City in possession for the vast majority of the 14 minutes that we've played. It's still 0-0. And the Blades win it with Fleck in the midfield and poke back towards Nord. Now Haaland's got it and he's whacked it in from distance, but whistle had already gone. Some finish 30 yards out, and with minimal backlift he just larruped it with his left foot, but the whistle had already gone.
Some finish indeed. Well, as I say, it was minimal, the contact, I believe. I don't think there was too much in it, but Stuart Atwell had blown the whistle early. But that aside, an incredible strike, just on the up, the ball coming, half volley, great strike. And I've got a feeling this kid could score some goals this year, Jim.
Yeah, looks like a player, doesn't he? I think he's got a future ahead of him. A man that has scored 20 hat-tricks for club and country, 48 goals in his 41 Manchester City appearances. 33 goals he's got in 21 home games this season.
Told you.
Yeah, you're a good judge. 15 in 20 matches away from the Etihad for Haaland this season. City in possession inside their own half this time. It's just nudged on, and Jai is able to pick it up on the Sheffield United right. Now Sander Berge has done well. He's getting past Gomez. He gets to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Stands it up. Walker does well. Just swivels and heads it clear. John Fleck winning it back. Bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Robinson joining the attack. And he's dragged his effort wide. Will take it not too short. Dive down to his right-hand side. Made a comfortable save. It just passed the foot of the post. It would have gone wide. And it remains 0-0. Full-time whistle's gone at Coventry. Dave Rowe.
Coventry 2, Reading 1 goal from Matty Godden and Gustavo Hamer firing informed Coventry into the top 5. Reading had equalised briefly through Lucas Shaw, but they are left a point from safety with 2 games to go. Coventry 2, Reading 1.
And full-time as well at Cardiff. Lawrence Moura.
Yeah, Cardiff 1, Stoke 1. The home side remaining depths of the Championship relegation battle. Stoke going ahead through Josh Lawrence' header. Sorry Cabba struck his 6th in 7th games to equalise. And in the second half, he saw a penalty saved by Jack Bonham in Stoke's goal. Not the 3 they wanted, but that could be a crucial home point for Cardiff. Cardiff 1, Stoke 1.
Wins for Plymouth and Ipswich at the top of League One. And Sheffield Wednesday's finished against Exeter. Alan Biggs.
Sheffield Wednesday 2, Exeter 1. The Owls maintain a chance of top 2. This performance did nothing to convince, but after Josh Key had headed Exeter in front, goals from Lee Gregory and Callum Patterson pulled it round. 26,000 here. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Exeter 1.
The Rochdale's 102-year stay in the Football League is over. They've been relegated. The 1-0 defeat at Stockport, and Hartlepool may well be going down with them. They have to win their last 2 games to stand any chance of staying up. They've been beaten 2-0 at home by Crawley, who just need 1 point to survive that relegation battle. I'll give you all the full times at half-time in this game, run through them all for you as well when they're all collated. As Manchester City play it back in, and it's again easily cleared by the Blaze back line, and the verdict of a free kick against the Manchester City midfield seems a wee bit harsh. Gundogan not happy that the free kick has gone against him. It did look as though he had played the ball. Full-time whistle has gone at Turf Moor. Andy Buckley.
Final score, Burnley 1, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Burnley lose at home for the first time this season. Field and Martin with the goals for struggling QPR. A vital win for them. Benson, the Burnley scorer. The title has to wait for the Clarets. Final score, Burnley 1, QPR 2.
That's our confirmation Premier League results. Fulham 2, Leeds 1, Brentford 1, Villa 1, Palace 0, Everton 0, Leicester 2, Wolves 1, Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 2. In the Championship, Birmingham 0, Blackpool 1, Bristol City 2, Rotherham 1, Burnley 1, QPR 2, Cardiff 1, Stoke 1, Coventry 2, Reading 1, Hull 1, Watford 0, Norwich 0, Swansea 3, and Wigan 2, Millwall 1. Here, 18 minutes in, it's 0-0 in the FA Cup semi-final. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, just a couple of seconds ago there, Mahrez made a brilliant run from out to in, but it was tracked really well by Jack Robinson, and he just managed to get in front. And Sheffield United looking really good, looking composed when they turn the ball over, but just on a couple of occasions when they've turned it over on the edge of their box, they took a really tight short pass, and they've got to be careful they don't return the ball over as such.
The League One results like this: Barnsley 2, Oxford 0, Bolton 1, Shrewsbury 0, Charlton 2, Morecambe 3, Cheltenham 3, Forest Green 1, Derby have beaten Burton 1-0, and Fleetwood 1, MK Dons 0, Peterborough 0, Ipswich 3, Plymouth 3, Cambridge 1, Port Vale 2, Bristol Rovers 0, Portsmouth 1, Accrington 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Exeter 1, and Lincoln lead deep in stoppage time, 2 up at Wickham. Confirm that full time for you in a moment. Here's Akanji with the ball inside his half of the centre circle. Manchester City in their light blue shirts and white shorts, kicking from left to right here at Wembley. Mahrez trying to get on the end of a long ball punted in his direction. And Sheffield United able to bring it down, and it's worked for by Norwood, and who's hoping to win a 4th promotion from the Championship to the Premier League over the next week or so. So much dependent on what happens in the game between Luton and Middlesbrough, and that takes place on Monday, and we have it for you on Talksport 2. Sergio Gomez plays the ball forward out to the Manchester City left. Another chance for Grealish to bring in his stride, just glide forward in possession. Grealish again running to the edge of the penalty area. Sergio Gomez is in support for him. Berger trying to stop the cross coming in, played into the feet of Gundogan. Gundogan retaining possession well under duress, goes back for Laporte. Now Laporte surveying his options, and pointing at where the ball should be played. It goes into the feet of Gundogan in the midfield, and then back to the deepest line of the Manchester City outfield players. Akanji, Walker, it's a great ball between the lines. Opportunity for Alvarez, just ran away from him for a moment, and it's put out of play by Egan for a throw.
Yeah, super ball by Walker there, just breaking the lines. But I tell you who's doing a tireless job for the team is Ndiaye. I tell you what, he's an outlet when Sheffield have got the ball, but also as well when it breaks down, he's surging back into midfield, helping out and making sure they don't get overloaded in that midfield area. And it'll be important he carries on doing that job for the team.
Walker playing it back for Manuel Akanji again. And Akanji looking for the long diagonal out towards Mahrez, holding the width on the right. He didn't have to break his stride to bring the ball under control on his left foot. Played to Gundogan on the edge of the penalty area. Has to turn, plays it back for Alvarez, down towards Walker. And Manchester City taking a time in getting the ball inside the penalty area. It does break for Mahrez, who curves one. And it's taken a deflection, has it, and gone wide? No, just gone straight wide. And out of play for a goal kick. In League 2, now these are full times. Wimbledon 1, Swindon 5. Barrow 0, Carlisle 1. Bradford 2, Gillingham 2. Colchester 4, Sutton 1. Doncaster 1, Newport 3, Hartlepool 0, Crawley 2, Leyton Orient 2, Crewe 0, and Orient the champions. Mansfield 1, Stevenage 0, Northampton 3, Harrogate 1, Stockport 1, Rochdale 0, Rochdale are relegated, Tranmere 2, Grimsby 0, and Walsall 2, Salford 3.
Yeah, decent strike there, never coming back though from Mahrez. As I say, didn't put any swaz on it at all, and goalkeeper dived, I think, just to get Mahrez out of a little bit of trouble. But I think Sheffield will be very pleased with the start they've had in the game. They don't look as though they're overwhelmed in any way, shape or form, but you've also got to bear in mind in 3 months' time this could be a league fixture.
Sheffield United will certainly expect that to be the case. And on the back foot again. Right-footed curving effort, brilliantly tipped wide. Fotheringham has done well as Grealish picked it up and just drove towards the edge of the penalty area, flicked it off, and a right-footed effort came in. And diving away, Fotheringham denying Alvarez with a strong left hand.
Yeah, this is the repercussions of Berg sliding out to double up on the Bulldogs side, which I think he's got to do. But Grealish isn't daft. When he gets faced with 2 players, he slides it inside, which opens up shooting angles for the likes of Alvarez. And as I say, anyone that's sort of inside that inside left position, that for City they're so fluid, they'll get in there and vacate that space.
Alvarez to take the corner, and he beats everybody. Grealish waiting on the edge of the penalty area for any seconds that came his way. He was just given a shove there by Iliman Ndiaye, and it will be a free kick to Manchester City 10 yards inside their own half. The National League, Altrincham 2, Torquay 2, Bromley 2, Chesterfield 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Halifax 0, Eastleigh 0, Solihull 0, Maidenhead 1, Barnet 1, Maidstone 2, Notts County 5, but Wrexham can be promoted if they win later. Scunthorpe 1, Southend 3, Wilston 2, Dorking 2, Woking 2, Gateshead 1, Yeovil 0, Oldham 3, and York 2, Aldershot 2. Here's Kyle Walker finding Gundogan. And Stirling Albion, incidentally, promoted as champions of Scottish Second Division today. And Adrian will have all of the full-time scores for you in our classified check, which will come up just after half-time in this game. Riyad Mahrez stretching, does well to pull a long ball down, just got to the byline, flicked it back towards Bernardo Silva, and then Silva wasn't sure where Mahrez was. He played it back to him, realised that the pass wasn't going to get there, so tried to rescue it himself, and in doing so got fouled. And it's a free kick that will be taken on the City right.
I've got to say, I've covered City a fair bit over the last month, and I'm being drawn towards Bernardo Silva. He's incredible. I tell you what, his feet are so quick, the way he manipulates the ball. He's got a low centre of gravity. He's so difficult. I hardly ever see him give the ball away. He's really impressed me over this last month.
Scottish Premiership results today. Hearts 6, Ross County 1. Celtic held at home by Motherwell 1 apiece. Dundee United 2, Livingston 0. St Johnstone 1, Hibs 1. St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 2. So a free kick to be taken on the Manchester City right. And it's going to be a left-footed in-swinging delivery from Mahrez, which has taken a touch off the top of the head of Norwood and goes out of play for a corner.
I'll tell you what, Norwood done well there. I'm looking at that free kick out there and I'm thinking, I'm not sure you're going to toss one in the box here. I think you're shooting to the far corner, and fortunately for Norwood, he just got his position just about right to deflect it up and away for a corner.
3 corners to 1 in Manchester City's favour. They've had 80% of the possession. It's the Blades that have had the best chance. This corner, far too deep, headed away. Alvarez will pick it up, works it into the feet on the edge of the penalty area. Flick back off towards Bernardo Silva, who's overwhelmingly second favourite to get to that, so just concentrated in trying to block Lowe's ball upfield. And he thinks that it hit him and then hit the Sheffield United player on its way out, but the referee and assistant didn't agree, and a goal kick has been given and Fotheringham will take it. Sheffield United relatively comfortably through the opening 26 minutes here, Stuart Pearce, 0-0.
Yeah, I think they've been pretty good. They've had the best chance of the game, Jim, that's for sure. An effort from a corner from about 5 yards out, which Ortega done well enough to keep it out, and apart from that, they've looked nice and composed in the game, but you know, with City, that's a dangerous thing to say.
Haaland playing it down towards Walker. And Walker getting to the edge of the penalty area. Bernardo Silva with a cross, and it deflects away off a stooping defensive header from Fleck. And it had his goalkeeper scrambling for a moment. It went the right side of the post from a Blades perspective, but out of play for another corner.
Yeah, as I say, really important that the midfield players fill the box. When City like to thread the ball out wide, they have to go and fill the box. It does a real good job for the central defenders so they can stay in their slot as well.
Alvarez to take this latest Manchester City corner, the 4th. Fotheringham punching it clear, and Jebison hammering it away. And getting good distance on it, putting it out of play for a throw, which will be taken over on the Manchester City left-hand side. The Blades have lost each of the last 3 meetings of these two teams, but only by a goal to nil each time. They've actually never lost to City in the FA Cup. The last time they met back in 2008, the 4th round tie at Bramall Lane, when John Stead scored the winner, and Billy Sharp, who's on the bench today, featured that day. Also beat them in the 4th round, just prior to the First World War, just prior to the Second, and way back in the day in round 1. Manchester City hoping to beat them for the first time in this competition today and make it through to their 11th FA Cup final. Sheffield United themselves have played in 6, but the last of those back in 1936, so it would be some achievement if they were to make it through. Giving a good account of themselves so far, hanging in there, but that's a poor challenge. And Sergio Gomez receiving the ball and just turning to lay it back towards Laporte, and had his legs swept away from underneath him by George Baldock.
Yeah, I think he saw the challenge coming and rode it. He jumped as the challenge arrived, to be honest with you. I think his ego's bruised more than his ankles, if I'm being honest with you. And so it looked a lot worse than it actually was.
And there speaks a man who might have just perpetrated 1 or 2 of those on this very ground.
Well, it's fair to say you're probably correct.
Yeah, you don't want to start seeing yellow cards given for those retrospectively. Here's Akanji.
I'm not sure. 40 years afterwards you can retrospectively put a ban on somebody, Jim.
Oh, who knows?
Let's hope not.
I wouldn't put anything past anybody. Here's Gundogan. Gundogan laying it back for his goalkeeper, Stefan Ortega, who's started the last 7 domestic cup ties before today. Kanji just going to saunter forward. No pressure on the ball from the Sheffield United players with it in midfield. Gomez turned and Nall came to engage, but he still had plenty of time to work the ball out towards the left. Now it's towards Gundogan, and a lot gravitating through him in the midfield at the moment. Bernardo Silva towards the edge of the penalty area, riding one challenge, then getting a low, tame effort in. That one would have dribbled, and I mean dribbled wide. But Fotheringham got his hands behind it, able to make the save. 30 minutes in, Manchester City 0, Sheffield United 0.
Yeah, City have got the ascendancy certainly on possession and territory at this moment in time. Last probably 10-15 minutes, Sheffield have not threatened the final third of City, but saying that, they've looked comfortable in the game. Good shape to their team, in and out of possession.
You're listening to Manchester City against Sheffield United in the FA Cup semi-final, live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. Ball played out by Ortega. Walker trying to turn in the midfield, and Fleck manhandled him. And the free kick has quickly been taken by Manchester City. Gundogan, fall for Gomez, and Gomez quickly is 25 yards inside the Blades half. Grealish coming in off that left flank, and still he goes, gets himself into a central position, lays it down for Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez turning it onto his left foot. Oh, good backheel flick from him. Now Walker, plenty of time to deliver, but instead of hitting it in first time where the Blades were struggling to regroup, he took his time, trying to pick somebody out, and that allowed Sheffield United the chance to clear for a corner.
Yeah, just one of my pet eights there from Cole Walker. He's got himself in a brilliant position. He's got his head up, he smashed it across, and then he's hit a bad ball in, and then started flapping his arms, complaining that someone should have made a better run.
Corner taken short and quickly by Manchester City, and Walker has it again in an inside right position, 20 yards outside the penalty area. Mahrez then back for Gomez. Grealish peels away down to the left-hand touchline to pick up possession. Little tap ball from him inside the penalty area, and goes out of play. And for yet another corner.
Yeah, I think what City have got to do, when they get the ball out wide to Mahrez and Grealish, the inside midfield players are being the one for Sheffield that are getting out and doubling up. So if they do that, then the fullback from City's got to get up there and get quick, along with an inside midfield player to overload that area.
So corner number 6 for Manchester City. 32 minutes gone, it's 0-0. It's a left-footed away swing with plenty of loft. Haaland with a great leap, just trying to guide it down on the edge of the penalty area for Grealish. Yeah, but he couldn't find him. The Blades have defended that kind of situation very ably so far. And City, maintaining possession, are forced to go all the way back for their goalkeeper. Walker has it. Walker to Gundogan. And Gundogan playing it forward through the midfield for Sergio Gomez. Another absorbing day of action across the EFL and the Premier League. The Premier League full times, if you're just joining us, Fulham beat Leeds 2-1, Brentford 1, Villa 1, Palace 0, Everton 0, Leicester 2, Wolves 1, and Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 2. Salah getting the winner there. And Sheffield United trying to bring it forward, can do so with Sander Berge. Mooted appeals that it could be a handball on the edge of the penalty area. Now Jefferson has done well to hold it up, and he spun it down towards Ndiaye. Ndiaye had support to his left-hand side for Lowe, but he couldn't find a way past Mahrez, who defended diligently. And Walker can do the rest and mop up and get it away towards Bernardo Silva. And Sheffield United are going to have any joy, Stuart. It looks as though a counter-attack's going to be their most profitable avenue.
Yeah, it certainly does, but they've got pace up there with those two, you know, and they certainly offer that threat. And I've got to say just then, Sander Berge done brilliantly, doubling up once again. He was the one who got back, doubled up, made sure Grealish had no wriggle room to take the fullback on his own, and he was the one who ended up intercepting and launching the counter-attack.
Gomez to Gundogan. Too much on that for Riyad Mahrez. It'll drift out of play Talksport's football correspondent Alex Crook is down pitch side behind the goal, away to our left-hand side in front of the Manchester City supporters. And what have you made of it from your vantage point, Crookie?
Well, I have to say, Jim, the Manchester City fans have been largely subdued so far. Credit to Sheffield United, they're clearly making themselves very difficult to beat. The loudest they've been, these fans behind me, was when Mahrez did that bit of tracking back and stopped a promising counter-attack. I've been keeping my eye on Pep Guardiola as well, much more animated than Paul Heckingbottom, his opposite number, and he's been in the ear of the fourth official throughout these opening 35 minutes.
Has won the FA Cup as the Manchester City boss, Pep Guardiola, just the once in 2019. Manchester City on the front foot, Walker making his way forward. I think it's about a first-time ball again, but then in trying to deceive Bogle and tap it past him, it was easily dealt with. Gundogan. Now down towards the Manchester City right-hand side for Bernardo Silva. Back from him to Mahrez. Mahrez taking a touch outside the penalty area, going to Sergio Gomez. No real dynamism about Manchester City at times. They haven't quite got the tempo that we've seen from them in recent brilliant displays. Cross comes in now looking for Haaland, but knocked away easily by Egan. Bounces back down towards Gundogan. Gundogan for Riyad Mahrez again. And Gundogan gets the return ball almost instantly. Laporte splits it, goes wide out to the Manchester City left. Ball played in his general direction. Sheffield United still continuing to defend with great diligence, keeping a shape behind the ball and following these Manchester City players, but never straying too far from position. Silva waiting for the ball to come from Gomez. It never got there, but Haaland comes back to retain possession for Manchester City. Laporte. Now Gomez and Grealish hugging that left-hand touchline, faced up by Baldock. Laid back for Gundogan. Gundogan towards the edge of the penalty area. Another opportunity potentially coming in as Gomez tries to wrestle his way through, and it just doesn't quite break his way, and it's whacked away right-footed past Alvarez and out for a throw that will be taken on the Manchester City left.
Just looking at the last tactical nuance there and the implications of what happens when Berg gets out to double up. He gets out, that enables the three central defenders to stay in their slots, and then when the ball eventually comes in, they're there to head the ball. If Berg didn't do that job and stayed central, one of the central halves has got to go out to double up, and all of a sudden you've got a hole in your back line that needs filling.
Sonnenberger, a player that is so highly regarded. He's just played more than 100 games for Sheffield United now, and it seems certain that he was going to leave in January. £35 million price tag on his head. You can see why he's got so many suitors. Walker finding Riyad Mahrez here. It's 0-0 on Talksport in the FA Cup semi-final. Ilkay Gundogan taking a touch and then another to drag it back with his left foot and try and work a shooting angle away from Norwood, but he couldn't quite. Deflection on the cross that comes in from Grealish, which spins it into the hands of Wes Foderingham. This is the first of the FA Cup semi-finals, of course, the second of them tomorrow. Brighton against Manchester United. Sam Matterface alongside Dean Ashton for that. It's a 4:30 kickoff. We'll have brought you exclusive action from the Championship before that. Over on Talksport 2 tomorrow lunchtime, high noon kickoff. West Brom still very much in the playoff picture after the results today, taking on Sunderland. And don't forget, all 10 of the Premier League games coming up during the next round of fixtures, round 33, which is midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're all here on the Talksport network, including Manchester City against Arsenal. Mahrez almost able to embarrass Max Lowe and dispossess him, but Robinson got it, and then Egan plays it forward. Ahmedhodzic has taken up a more advanced role for Sheffield United for a moment, just trying to be an extra body in the midfield, but they can't keep a hold of the ball for long, and possession still in the low 80s for Manchester City, albeit that for that they've hardly worked Wes Foderingham at all. 6 to go to half-time. Ball hooked inside the penalty area now for Manchester City, who they're going to get a corner. No, not quite. It's well defended by Norton, put out a play for a throw right down by the corner flag.
Yeah, those midfield players, so important. They're there to create, yes, and feed the ball to the two strikers, but their work that they've got to do, filling the box, as Norwood did just then, is so important.
Riyad Mahrez is fouled. Free kick which Manchester City will take. A reminder that coming up at half-time in this game, all of the details of the games that mattered up and down the Premier League and the EFL today. A full classified check as well. Suffice it to say, Wigan survived in the Championship, so too did Blackpool. Leyton Orient are the champions of League Two. Rochdale have been relegated, and wins in the Premier League today for Fulham, Leicester, Liverpool, with the games of Brentford and Palace ending all square. Free kick which will be taken by Manchester City, level the right-hand edge of the penalty area, 12 yards outside the box. Haaland waiting, just almost trying to peer around the side of Sander Berge. Gundogan takes it, swung in very deep. Laporte coming to meet it. The opportunity on the volley for Bernardo Silva, and made no contact, but they get a penalty. It was half cleared as Silva tried the initial shot, and as he came back and the ball bounced his way, had his legs swept from underneath him, and Manchester City have a penalty with 4 minutes to go to half-time.
I'm not sure he can argue with that. He's took his eye off the ball when it went in the air, and then he's had a swing at Bernardo Silva, who's got a touch on the ball, pushed it away, and it was a wild swing. You can't do that in the box, and they'll be so frustrated, the coaching staff of Sheffield, to give such a cheap effort away after 40 minutes.
Well, it was the proverbial striker's challenge from Daniel Jebison, but the teenager recalled to the side today. The ball bounced. I don't know whether he didn't quite see Bernardo Silva. He made a little bit of contact on the ball, but it was his follow-through that brought the Portuguese down.
I don't think this will be overturned. I think the only thing you can say, if the ref hadn't have given it, I'm not sure they'd have overturned it, because he got a little niggle on the ball.
Well, the VAR is Tony Harrington, and the referee Stuart Atwell has his hand to his ear. There's clearly still communication going on between the pair of them. No sign that this penalty isn't going to stand.
No, the word clear and obvious is springing to mind, and I don't think there was a clear and obvious mistake on that decision.
Clear and obvious mistake on the challenge. So Riyad Mahrez it will be to take it. Haaland, who missed one in the week, delegating the responsibility to Riyad Mahrez. Stands hands on hips, 5 yards from the ball, runs up and sends Fotheringham the wrong way. Blazes it into the bottom right-hand corner. They haven't been at their fluent, cohesive best, but Manchester City have done what Manchester City do. Score goals, get a grip of games. They lead 1-0.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed in that, Sheffield. I think they've been decent in this first half. They've had a great shape to what they've done, and they've been undone by a striker coming back and just being a bit loose with his defensive work and impetuous. Maybe A, a striker, and B, such a young man.
7th goal in his last 9 FA Cup ties. Riyad Mahrez' 13th of the season. And Manchester City lead Sheffield United by a goal to 0. And 1 goal has been enough to win the last 3 meetings of these two teams. Could have been such a different story, with Iliman Ndiaye forcing that really good save out of Ortega just a couple of minutes in. And City slowly beginning to create the half chances that the amount of possession that they've had would suggest should have been coming their way. And Mahrez putting the penalty in. City will just play out from the back here, try and get round the Blades press. Ball down towards Walker's, just kept it in on the right-hand touchline, and he'll make his way forward with pace towards Max Lowe. Lowe back for Bernardo Silva, the man that won the penalty. And Silva to Mahrez, the man that scored it. Gundogan back inside his own half for Aymeric Laporte. FA Cup run in which Manchester City have now scored 15 goals without reply. Clean sheets in every game in the tournament so far, and if they can maintain that over the next 46 minutes of action, they'll be in the FA Cup final again. Semi-final hoodoo broken. Here's Walker, gets to the byline, thrashes across in just too high for Alvarez, but flag was up anyway. and he wouldn't have counted.
Yeah, good interchange there. One player coming short, Walker going long, but he's just timed his run a little bit too soon. And the ball across either way was a little bit too high for Alvarez.
I think the biggest frustration for Paul Heckingbottom will be just the manner of the concession, not the scoreline necessarily, but just the fact that they are trailing to that challenge from Jebison and Bernardo Silva and a penalty, rather than something that Manchester City have actively done well to create.
Yep, you're absolutely right there. As I say, apart from that, the game plan's been very good. His team have worked really hard. Defensively, they've had a brilliant shape to what they've tried to achieve. Limited Manchester City to very, very few chances. And then all of a sudden, a rash challenge in the box, and you find yourself 1-0 down and undone.
We're going into a couple of minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half. Let's go pitch side again and speak to our football correspondent, Alex Crum.
Just shows how high Pep Guardiola's standards are. Mahrez didn't release the ball quickly enough for the City manager. He gave him a right rollicking during that last attack. Incredible. All he's won. He is a real determined character, isn't he?
Isn't he just? Norwood playing it forward, and Berg just a little bit too much on it for Jebison. And they'll be cleared by Akanji. This clearance towards halfway, brought down at the back by Egan. Egan to Robinson. Down towards Lowe, just waiting for the ball to get there, and then takes it on a touch, flicking it through the midfield for Iliman Ndiaye. Ndiaye holding it up. Alvarez back to aid the defensive course, could get it away. Gundogan leaving it, and Jack Grealish coming in from the left flank to almost out towards the right-hand touchline. Dispenses with the ball. He got caught by Fleck as he played the pass. Play goes on. Bernardo Silva just slowing things down almost to a standstill to make sure that Grealish is okay, but he's going to run it off, and City will maintain possession and play from Akanji out towards Emerick Laporte. And the second of the 2 added minutes at the end of the first half here on Talksport, where Manchester City lead Sheffield United by a goal to 0. Walker controlling the ball on the right-hand touchline, just nudging it down the line for Mahrez. Mahrez will come back and feed Walker again. Walker takes a touch, slams it forward straight into Jebison, and out of play for a throw. Stuart, give us your considered opinion on the first half.
Well, I think from both teams, City have probably been in second gear at best, and they've been comfortable in possession but not really created enough, but they'll be delighted to have gone in 1-0 up. Sheffield played well enough in this first half, not much in the game, but a rash challenge has changed all that. They'll have to try and get their wing-backs forward if they possibly can in this second half.
2 big moments for the Sheffield United front line, and Jai missing a really good opportunity early on, and then Jebison, his strike partner, giving a penalty away for a foul on Bernardo Silva. Mahrez put it in, and at the break it's Manchester City 1, Sheffield United 0.
Jim, Stuart, thank you very much. City in front then, second half to come live on Talksport. But let's reflect on what's happened on a big Saturday of football, starting with a full classified check of all the results on Talksport.
This is Game Day. Full-time classifieds.
In the Premier League, Fulham 2, Leeds 1, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0, Leicester 2, Wolves 1, Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 2. Championship, Birmingham 0, Blackpool 1, Bristol City 2, Rotherham 1, Burnley 1, QPR 2, Cardiff 1, Stoke 1, Coventry 2, Reading 1, Hull 1, Watford 0, Norwich 0, Swansea 3, Wigan 2, Millwall 1. Preston Blackburn has just kicked off. It's live on Talksport 2 right now, and it's goalless. In League 1, Barnsley 2, Oxford 0, Bolton 1, Shrewsbury 0, Charlton 2, Morecambe 3, Cheltenham 3, Forest Green 2, Derby 1, Burton 0, Fleetwood 1, MK Dons 0, Peterborough 0, Ipswich 3, Plymouth 3, Cambridge 1, Port Vale 2, Bristol Rovers 0, Portsmouth 1, Accrington 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Exeter 1, Wickham 0, Lincoln 2. In League 2, AFC Wimbledon 1, Swindon 5, Barrow 0, Carlisle 1, Bradford 2, Gillingham 2, Colchester 4, Sutton 1, Doncaster 1, Newport 3, Hartlepool 0, Crawley 2, Leyton Orient 2, Crewe 0, Orient are champions, Mansfield 1, Stevenage 0, Northampton 3, Harrogate 1, Stockport 1, Rochdale 0, Rochdale relegated to the National League, Tranmere 2, Grimsby 0, Walsall 2, Salford 3. In the National League, Altrincham 2, Torquay 2, Bromley 2, Chesterfield 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Halifax Town 0, Eastleigh 0, Solihull Moors 0, Maidenhead 1, Barnet 1, Maidstone 2, Notts County 5, Scunthorpe 1, Southend 3, Wealdstone 2, Dorking 2, Woking 2, Gateshead 1, Yeovil 0, Oldham 3, York 2, Aldershot 2, and Wrexham Boreham Wood kicks off at 6:30. We'll get the team news very shortly. National League North, AFC Fylde 5, Leamington 1, Telford 1, Scarborough 1, Alfreton 1, Blythe Spartans 0, Banbury United 0, Spennymoor 1, Buxton 3, Brackley 1, Chorley 1, Peterborough Sports 0, Curzon Ashton 2, Boston 2, Darlington 1, Kings Lynn 3, Farsley Celtic 2, Gloucester 1, Hereford 0, Bradford Park Avenue 0, Kettering 0, Chester 1, Southport 1, Kidderminster 3, National League South, Braintree 2, Eastbourne Borough 0, Cheshunt 2, Bath City 1, Chippenham 2, Tonbridge Angels 2, Concord Rangers 2, Hampton and Richmond Borough 0, Dartford 2, St Albans City 1, Farnborough 3, Dover 0, Hemel Hempstead 0, Chelmsford 0, Hungerford 1, Dulwich Hamlet 1, Oxford City 1, Havant and Waterlooville 1, Taunton 3, Worthing 2, Welling 3, Ebbsfleet 2, Weymouth 2, Slough Town 0. In the Women's Champions League semi-final first leg, it finished Chelsea 0, Barcelona 1. Scottish Premiership, Hearts 6, Ross County 1, Celtic 1, Motherwell 1, Dundee United 2, Livingston 0, St Johnstone 1, Hibs 1, St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 2. Scottish Championship, Arbroath 0, Cove Rangers 1, Hamilton 2, Partick 2, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1, Dundee 1, Morton 1, Wraith Rovers 0. Scottish League 1, Airdrie 1, Dunfermline 1, Alloa 1, Falkirk 4, FC Edinburgh 2, Kelty Hearts 2, Peterhead 1, Clyde 1, Queen of the South 2, Montrose 3, Scottish League 2, Albion 3, Stenhousemuir 1, Dumbarton 1, East Fife 0, Forfar 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Stirling 3, Annan Athletic 1, Stirling promoted as champions, Stranraer 3, Elgin 1, Cymru Premier, Aberystwyth 3, Carnarvon 2, Airbus UK 1, Haverfordwest County 4, Cardiff Met 2, Ballatown 1, Penabon 2, Newtown 1, Pontypridd United 3, Flint Town United 2, the New Saints 4, Connors Quay 1, and the Irish Premiership, Carrick Rangers 1, Glenavon 3, Cliftonville 3, Crusaders 3, Dungannon Swifts 3, Portadown 2, Glentoran 3, Coleraine 0, and Newry City AFC 2, Ballymena United 2.
FA Cup live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Getaway Gift is now on at Arnold Clark. Buy a used car this weekend and we'll treat you to a brilliant gift. Choose from an overnight hotel stay for 2, a family day out for 4, or even a £50 Ticketmaster e-gift card to see the event of your choice. Arnold Clark's Getaway Gifts is now on. See arnoldclark.com.
Introducing McDonald's Winning Sips. With millions of prizes to be won, like a McDonald's Strawberry Milkshake, a Big Mac, a pair of McDonald's socks. Hold on, £100 in cash. Bloomin' heck, that's 10 grand. Y'all ready for this? Play McDonald's Winning Sips on medium or large soft drinks. Peel your cup, try your luck. Promotional drinks only. Ends 25th of April. App registration may be required. 18 plus, UK only. T's and C's apply.
Covered by a 5-year warranty.
That's All-Star quality. Search Nissan All-Star vans and find out more.
Range based on L1 Vizia grade. WLTP figures quoted for comparability purposes. Actual real-world driving results may vary. Warranty T's and C's apply.
Ever tried to place a bet and found it doesn't really reflect you? It doesn't allow you to flex your savvy knowledge of the sport? Then you need Bet Builder from Virgin Bet.
And it's another booking for the away team.
Choose your favourite markets like corners, cards, or even hitting the crossbar, and personalise your bet until you look at it and think, nailed it. Beautiful, isn't it? You can also pick from pre-made bet builders if you like. Make it your own with Bet Builder from Virgin Bet. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. BeGambleAware.org.
Life. 1 minute you're enjoying a quiet cuppa. The next, there's water pouring through the ceiling. Whoops, left the bath running. That's where More Than's award-winning home insurance comes in, to help make it feel like home again. Search More Than Home Insurance, because life is more than insurance. Cover with accidental damage as optional extra. 5-star Moneyfacts 2023.
At Wickes, get Dulux standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion. Was £21, now 16. Be house proud with Wickes. Ends Wednesday, terms apply.
Be more CyberZen. Get NordVPN.
help avoid online trackers and malware-infected downloads. You could enjoy cleaner, safer, and more private internet daily. Be more CyberZen. Catch the special deal now at nordvpn.com.
Getaway Gift is now on at Arnold Clark. Buy a used car this weekend and we'll treat you to a brilliant gift. Choose from an overnight hotel stay for 2, a family day out for 4, or even a £50 Ticketmaster e-gift card to see the event of your choice. Arnold Clark's Getaway Gift is now on. See arnoldclark.com.
FA Cup live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Game day.
Get all the goals on your radio.
FA Cup Game Day Live
on Talksport.
Second FA Cup semi-final tomorrow afternoon. Manchester United taking on Brighton. Of course, we're here for that live commentary on Talksport. But let's take a look at the half-time highlights with Carling.
FA Cup half-time highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
Here comes the Sheffield United corner then. Plenty of pushing and shoving around the edge of the area. It's Egan that knocks it down. It's a good save from Ortega. The opportunity on the volley for Bernardo Silva and make no contact, but they get a penalty. Ireland who missed one in the week, delegated responsibility to Riyad Mahrez. Stands hands on hips, 5 yards from the ball, runs up and sends Fothering in the wrong way. Blazes it into the bottom right-hand corner. They haven't been at their fluent, cohesive best, but Manchester City have done what Manchester City do.
Yep, Sheffield United 1 down, not out of it, but they need to come out and play in the second half, which we'll bring to you live on Talksport from here at Wembley Stadium. That was all thanks to Carling 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
FA Cup half-time highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
Well, in the National League, if Notts County had lost at relegated Maidstone, Wrexham would be promoted. Of course, County didn't lose. They won 5-2 away from home, but Wrexham beat Boreham Wood, and they're up. It kicks off at 6:30. Here's Ian Abrahams.
That is the equation here at the racecourse ground, Adrian. They do need a win to be promoted tonight. Boreham Wood, by the way, need a point to be guaranteed the playoffs, but that's very much a side story. Former Boreham Wood winger Jacob Mendy is recovered. He starts for Wrexham tonight. That's their one change in for Jordan Davis. Lee, Mullin and Darby are their 3 up front. As for Boreham Wood, Liam Dove is their top scorer, more than 20 goals less than Paul Mullin. Tells you all you need to know about Luke Garrard's side. They'll come here tonight and try and keep it tight, but will that be enough? Wrexham's 15-year exile from the Football League could be over, and Ryan Reynolds will be celebrating.
Ian, thanks very much. That kicks off at 6:30. Could be a very, very big night out in Wrexham tonight. Let me round up what's happened. I gave you the full times earlier from a big afternoon of football. Premier League, Villa are now 6, 5 points off the top 4 after their draw at Brentford. Liverpool, who made it seem like hard work against Forest, won 3-2 in the end. The winner from Mo Salah, up to 7th, 6 points off the top 4. And the bottom looks like this. Southampton are bottom of the table on 24 after their 3-3 draw at Arsenal yesterday. Forest second, bottom on 27. Everton third, bottom on 28. Leicester out of the bottom 3 on goal difference, and Leeds a point above the bottom 3. Championship, Burnley beaten at home for the first time this season by, of all teams, QPR. They must wait for the title. QPR managed by Gareth Ainsworth, who grew up a Blackburn fan, so it'll be so sweet for him. Luton, Borough, Coventry, Millwall all in the playoff places, but only 3 points between 6th, which is the final playoff place, and Preston in 12th, which is an extraordinarily tight championship playoff race we have this season. Preston against Blackburn, live on Talksport 2 right now, and it's goalless as well. Down at the bottom in the championship, Wigan could have gone down today, but they beat Millwall 2-1, so they're not down yet. Blackpool live to fight another day as well. They won 1-0 at Birmingham. Ian Prevada with the only goal. Top 3 in League One all won, so only 2 of those 3 will be going up automatically, so that's incredibly tight. Plymouth are top, a point clear of Ipswich, who are a point clear of 3rd place Sheffield Wednesday, who had to come from behind to beat Exeter 2-1. Bottom 7 in League One all lost apart from Morecambe. Back-to-back wins for them. They're in the bottom 4 on goal difference only. Orient champions in League 2, Rochdale relegated after 102 years of league football. Hartlepool could well be joining them as well. They're 6 points off safety with 2 games left. They've lost 3 in a row now, John Askey's side. And in the National League at the bottom, barring a chunky goal difference swing, Torquay will join Yeovil, Scunthorpe and Maidstone in relegation this season. Torquay 3 points adrift of York and Maidenhead with a worse goal difference, and their last game is at home to Wrexham next weekend. The last round of National League games kick off at 5:30 next Saturday afternoon. What a midweek we've got for you on the Talksport network. The big one is Wednesday night, Man City against Arsenal, live and exclusive on Talksport. One of 4 Premier League commentaries on the Talksport network that night. One of 10 live and exclusive on the Talksport network that midweek. Some are available only on the Talksport app, so get that downloaded from where you get your apps. It's easy to use. Just go to Live Games, the tab at the bottom of the home screen, and that will direct you and navigate you through to where you need to be to listen to the game of your choice. But all 10 on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday from the Premier League are live and exclusive and only across the Talksport network. It's at least 60 live commentaries in April. It's day 13 of 25 consecutive commentaries on the network. It's Talksport powered by fans, bringing you football for free. And tomorrow, the second FA Cup semi-final, Brighton against Man United from 1 o'clock. Jason Cundy will be your host, live from Box Park, Wembley, building up to the game itself. And from 3:30, join me here at Wembley Stadium for live commentary of the game, and then post-match all the reaction from both camps and from you, the fans, on the boot room with Majestic, Darren Ambrose and Bayo Akinfenwa from 7 on Talksport. Laura and Ali with Talksport Breakfast from 6 a.m. Monday morning. If you fancy a bit of music, then Virgin Radio's the best. Chris Evans, Monday to Friday, breakfast 6:30 a.m. Saturday and Sunday mornings, I can recommend Graham Norton's show, 9:30 till 12:30. It's like a calm before the storm build up to the football on Talksport. Some good music. It's funny as well. Graham's guide about the evil cat this morning was hilarious. And Ricky Wilson hosts Drive on Virgin Monday to Friday, 4 till 7. You may have heard the Kaiser Chiefs frontman doing a brilliant impression of Jason Cundy this week. Check it out on our social media platforms, Twitter and Instagram at Talksport. So, plenty to look forward to when it comes to the football on Talksport. This really is your station for live football as we await the teams coming out in the second half. Stuart Pearce alongside me. Sheffield United, had they scored that early chance in the Malanjai, what a semi-final it would have set up, and they should have scored, really, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they should have done. As I say, poor defending, outswung corner, good movement to head down and enjoy, receive the ball probably 4 or 5 yards out. He's took one touch, then another. He's got his second touch away, which was the shot. And probably in hindsight now, he probably had even more time to maybe take a third touch, settle the ball where you want it, and get a good clean contact.
Yeah, they've kind of shrunk into themselves, or maybe City have made that happen. It was careless from the teenager Jefferson, wasn't it?
It was. As I say, you know, he's turned his back away from a potential shot by Silva. He mishit it, and when the ball fell, Silva's control's very quick, and he's just had a swing at the ball, and the ball's been moved, and he's just taken the player out. He's took Bernardo Silva out, and referee had no choice but to give a penalty. But that is such a frustration for Sheffield, I'm sure, and the management team, that their team have been in it. They haven't been under any pressure at all. The goalkeepers rarely had a save to make, to be quite honest with you, a meaningful one. Yet they're 1-0 down, but that's what the champions can do to you.
Yeah, City on their way out for the second half. Blades players are already out there. Wembley making a big noise for the first of the 2 semi-finals this weekend, and we got them both live on Talksport. Big Erling Haaland makes his way onto the pitch. Didn't take the penalty, having missed in midweek. Skied it in Munich. Riyad Mahrez did take the spot kick, and that's why City lead. It is Manchester City 1, Sheffield United 0. Live on Talksport, FA Cup semi-final, second half, coming up right now with the former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside Jim Proudfoot.
And this is how the teams look. Manchester City, Ortega in goal, Walker, Akanji, Laporte and Gomez. Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan and Grealish, Alvarez and Haaland. The bench for City, Ruben Dias, Phillips, Stones, Rodri, De Bruyne, Foden, Palmer, Lewis and Ederson. Plenty of ammunition there if they need it. Sheffield United, Fotheringham in goal, Ahmed Odjic, Egan and Robinson, Baldock, Berger, Norwood, Fleck and Lowe, Njai and Jebison the front two. Their bench: Basham, McBurney, Sharp, Koulibaly, Bogle, Clark, Arblaster, Brooks and goalkeeper Davis. We're back underway. Manchester City kicking from right to left as we're looking at here at Wembley Stadium, and they're in possession with Jack Grealish on this near touchline, the Manchester City left-hand side. They're put under pressure by Sander Berger. He's laid it back for Gundogan to Gomez, and back inside his own half for Laporte. Laporte then tells Alvarez that he's going to try and bend one over the top of Ahmedhodzic, but he can shepherd it back to his goalkeeper Foderingham. And Sheffield United with work to do. They played well, defended resolutely, but they find themselves a goal down, and at some stage Stuart Pearce, they're going to have to try and get more possession and ask more questions of the Manchester City back line.
Yeah, they will do, and I think the key to that will probably be trying to surge their their wing-backs forward. You know, they've been penned in, and rightly so, for this first half, and until the penalty, that's been a tactic that's worked really well, and they've looked very strong and very difficult to break down. But the wing-backs, as the game goes on, are going to have to take a gamble, get forward a bit more and supplement the attack.
I feel Foden amongst the Manchester City substitutes out warming up, and the City fans in front of us giving them a very warm hand. Laporte's got possession. Play back towards Akanji. Manchester City hoping to set up an FA Cup final with either Manchester United or Brighton. That game live for you tomorrow. It's a 4:30 kickoff from here at Wembley, with Dean Ashton alongside Sam Matterface, and Alex Crook will be joining Paul Barber for breakfast. Thank you, Paul. You'll be able to hear that interview with Brighton's CEO across Talksport's programming tomorrow, and ahead of that Manchester United Brighton game. West Brom Sunderland in the Championship live tomorrow lunchtime as well on Talksport 2 with a 12 noon kickoff. And Sheffield United flicked the ball on with Jebison, but he couldn't play in Njai, and it's had a play for a goal kick that'll be taken by Stefan Ortega. It is a City side who've won 10 out of 11. They're unbeaten in 15. They've won 15 of the last 19 games, and the defensive record so impressive as well. As I mentioned earlier, Stuart, they haven't conceded a single goal in this competition this season.
That takes some doing when you consider we're at the semi-final stage and in the second half of the semi-final. But pretty impressive. Just looking at City's substitutes bench and what he might be looking for at the end of this, I'm always astounded when I see sort of a game like this and he doesn't give Phillips any football at all, you know, which is strange. You would think Foden as well, he'll want to introduce him and get him some minutes today, certainly with the games programme they've got coming up.
Yeah, hasn't played Phil Foden since he was taken down with appendicitis whilst on international duty. He's another player with an outstanding record in this competition, with 10 goals in 19 FA Cup ties in his career, but no chance as yet to be able to add to that. And he waits among the substitutes. Grealish apologising for a slightly misdirected ball under pressure behind Walker. The City will play out from the back. Sheffield United doing their best to press. Ball played into the midfield for the retreating Haaland, who takes it on the half-turn and now will gallop forward some 10, 15 yards. And he continues his run, having dispensed with the ball. Out towards Mahrez, who's twisting and turning. Can't get into a position to cross. Play back instead to a central area for Silva. Silva with a little flick ball to the corner of the penalty area. Still Manchester City on the front foot. Walker involved. Back for Gundogan. Gundogan trying to get away from Jebison, who this time can time his challenge well. Flicks it out of Gundogan's path, and Lowe's there to clear and put it out of play for a throw.
I'll tell you what, any time a City player gets in the box, their tight control is so good that you daren't make a challenge. They're just daring you, basically, saying, come on then, dangle a leg. And they found out to their cost in the first half. If you do that, there's going to be a big problem.
And Manchester City will come again. Haaland just stretching out a left leg to bring the ball under control. He's played it back to the edge of the centre circle for Ruben Dias. Dias to Gomez. Gomez one stop out towards the left-hand touchline for Grealish, who takes it. This upward running style that he's got. Taking on Baldock, who stands firm, crouching down, trying to stop the cross coming in. And he succeeded in that regard as well. And when it comes back towards Gomez, Gomez getting it away from Njai, maintaining possession well. Now Gundogan, back to Grealish again. Grealish resists the temptation to put a cross in and goes back for Gundogan instead. Now Walker letting fly, and the deflection spins it over the bar. Robinson came out to meet it, and it's a Manchester City corner, their first of this second half. They lead 1-0.
Yeah, a little bit optimistic from that distance, but I've got to say he's called it well, and if it wasn't for the deflection, it's on target.
He scored a goal for his hometown club, Sheffield United. His last Premier League goal, Kyle Walker, did actually come against the Blades, one of 6 that he scored in Manchester City colours. He had 6 in his career before he arrived. This corner will be taken on the Manchester City right. And Laporte trying to spin away from Egan at the back post, and it's swung in his direction. He wants the target, but Fodringham's good clean handling made sure that he was able to negate the threat. And he bowls it out quickly for Baldock. He's got big game experience in the past. He played the Scottish Cup final back in his Rangers days. Wes Fodringham. Here's Gundogan getting it back for Manchester City, and the possession is still in the high 70s as far as City is concerned. Kanji to Laporte to Sergio Gomez. One of the bigger games of his career today. Grealish taking over from Laporte, who's continued to run out on the left-hand touchline. Baldock, the Greek international, slides in. Play forward towards Njai. Laporte winning it back. And then Gundogan inside the centre circle for Kyle Walker. And almost all of the play is right in front of us. We're in the half of the field that Manchester City are attacking. Gundogan keeping it over the top. Mahrez had made a really good run but couldn't be found. Jefferson is in there with a boot race a little bit high, but won it cleanly from Walker. And then Fleck goes back for his goalkeeper. Now Fodringham will clear once more. Gets it towards halfway, but no further. Jefferson going up for it, beaten in the air by Akanji. Looping defensive header, not the best, but a rescue by Robinson. A rescue after a fashion by Robinson. He got there ahead of the Manchester City players, but steered his defensive header to his goalkeeper wide. Now to play for another corner.
Yeah, this second half is showing the gulf between the teams. At the moment, Sheffield can't get out their own half. When they do turn it over, City are just taking it back off them again, and it's making things very, very nervous for some of the Sheffield players.
So it's a corner which will be taken on the Manchester City right-hand side. Another left-footed in-swinging delivery, angled wider, started off wider than perhaps was intended. So it curved away, level with the penalty spot, and Jai winning it back for Sheffield United. Nutmegs Laporte, which wasn't his intention. And the Frenchman recovered and got the ball back. French-born Spanish international, should I say. Now played out towards the right-hand side of the penalty area for Manchester City again with Mahrez. Back for Gundogan. Gundogan letting fly. Came through a forest of legs, and then Fleck with the defensive header puts it out for another corner.
Yeah, there's some nervous defending and play by Sheffield at the moment. Fleck facing his own goal, admittedly, but he's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, head it back to his goalkeeper, loop a header somewhere, and just headed it straight out of play to give City another corner.
Haaland's inside the 6-yard box. Akanji is there as well. Bernardo Silva, another body to add nuisance value. Laporte again, detailed by Egan as the corner comes in very deep. Akanji peels around the back and has pushed his man and tried to get there. Egan goes down onto his knees, and the free kick has gone Sheffield United's way. And all the time that they can keep this at 1-0, they're a good set piece or a counter attack away from maybe forcing a major shot.
Yeah, they are, but at this moment in time, the way the tide of the game is just going more and more City's direction, and just looking, Stuart McCall down there, just having a look, and they might be reaching for the bench. They need to do something to change the flow, but it's easier said than done when you're playing against the City side that absolutely starve you of the ball.
So what would you do if you were looking at it? Would you almost counterintuitively take one of the strikers off, get another body somehow in the midfield to try and give you more chance of getting better possession?
Well, that might get you better possession, let's say, and get a numbers overload in the midfield area, and then you've got the conundrum, Jim, of you need a goal when you're taking a striker off. So there lies the problem with that one.
Yeah, granted, of course, but I was just thinking more along the lines of If you've got an extra body, get further upfield, maybe win a couple more corners, a couple more free kicks, which might play into your hands.
Well, there's no doubt about that they need to wrestle the ascendancy away from City as their main priority before they can even look at getting a goal in this game.
Kanji's got it. Possession in this second half, incidentally, 81-19 in Manchester City's favour. Bernardo Silva with it. They've only had one half-side of goal, though, since the resumption. We've played 10 minutes of the second half on Talksport. City leading 1-0. Might get a shot in now. Sergio Gomez taking a deflection. Haaland squeezed in from an impossible angle at the far post and just couldn't quite flicker the right side of the post on the slide. And he goes out of play for a goal kick.
I'll tell you what, Jim, if you ask the three centre-halves now how tough has it been to play against Haaland today, they'll probably say, well, to be honest with you, we've been a little bit underwhelmed by him, you know what I mean? And then the ball goes slightly out wide and he sets sail for the far post because he gets a sniff of a goal, and all of a sudden he's just a hair's breadth away from scoring a goal when you think, wow, you can do nothing, and then all of a sudden you're on the score sheet.
He scored a hat-trick in the quarter-finals against the Championship champions-elect Burnley, who still aren't champions, beaten at home today by Queen's Park Rangers, which is an end-of-season result if ever I heard one. And QPR's third win in 28, and gives them a chance of survival. The day that Lake Norwich, champions in League 2, and Rochdale have gone down. And Liverpool won a 5-goal thriller against Nottingham Forest at Anfield with Mo Salah getting the winner in that. Here's Alvarez for Manchester City, and he's blazed over the bar on the turn. He put it some distance over the bar as well. Well, we're going to see some action on the Sheffield United bench, and I think it's Jebison who's going to be coming off, and Ollie McBurney is on to replace him.
Yeah, as I say, they might have a bit more of a target man on with McBurney. They might look to go sort of back to front, and if he can get the team up the pitch, I think that's what he's designed for.
Jebison sent off at Wrexham and has given the penalty away that at the moment is the decisive moment of the game in the first half here. Only 19, only 30-odd senior games for Sheffield United behind him. He's a player with a fantastic future ahead of him. So McBurney on, Scottish international, who netted in the quarter-finals against Blackburn, but that's his only goal in his last dozen appearances. Did have a run of 9 in 13 earlier this season. Fotheringham with the clearance, left-footed, over halfway. McBurney going up for it, beaten in the air by Laporte, and goes out of play for a throw, which Baldock will take quickly into the feet of Sander Berge. And then the Norwegian gets it again, and has done really well to work it through a small gap to find McBurney, and Berge will take it on, getting the return ball right in the challenge of Bernardo Silva in towards the near post, but just too far ahead of McBurney, and Ortega could get down and make a comfortable stop.
Yeah, once again, Berge done really well there. It's a good, tight, comfortable possession on the halfway line, set himself up the opportunity to drive forward, and when he drove it across the front of the goal, never really went over waist height, but it was in a very, very dangerous area if someone had got across the front of the goal.
Those are the thoughts of Stuart Pearce, former goal scorer in an FA Cup final. You're listening to Sheffield United against Manchester City in the FA Cup. It's live on Talksport with Carling. We're made by our mates, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Haaland playing it back towards Akanji on the edge of his own penalty area. Gundogan to Ortega in the box. When it comes down to it, it might not be a performance that will live long in the memory from Manchester City, bearing in mind some of the stellar displays that we've seen over the course of this fantastic season. Remember, they've had 34 wins in all competitions this season, and they've scored 125 goals. And it's all about getting it done when you get to Wembley. Here's Grealish. They are getting it done at the moment. Grealish taking on Baldock. He's overrun it. And it's out of play for a goal kick.
Interested to see Haaland's body language there. He's just berating his midfielders for not giving him Gomez, I think it is. He sent the ball out to Gomez, and he's just berating him for not giving him it back quicker. I think there's a little bit of frustration. I think the fact he was in the starting lineup today surprised one or two of us, Jim. And the fact that he hasn't got a goal will probably frustrate the life out of him, because he probably thought, hang on a minute, could be a couple more for me today.
You're listening to FA Cup Game Day on Talksport. And at 7 o'clock after us, Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahor will take your calls following another big day in the Premier League, the EFL and the National League. Manchester City on the front foot here and still going. Oh, it's brilliant. It's one of the best goals of this FA Cup run so far. Riyad Mahrez picking it up, got possession, carried on going, drew defenders, breezed past them and slotted the ball with nonchalance into the bottom right-hand corner past the advancing Foderingham. Manchester City 2, Sheffield United 0. He carved them open.
Well, it looks as though it's game, set and match now. He just surged forward, Mahrez, with the ball, picked it up in and around the halfway, right on the halfway line, in fact, on a turnover, and he kept running, and the Sheffield backline backed off, and all of a sudden they were more concerned about the runners either side than they were with the man with the ball. Everything opened up, and he just basically run into the penalty spot and just slotted the ball past the goalkeeper fantastically well.
And seeing the replay as he's running and continues to run, and Robinson is absolutely panic-stricken about the potential ball to the right-hand side for Haaland, and there's this look of realisation on Robinson's face as he's off balance, that he knows that he's just given him half a yard too much space to drive into. You see the look of realisation, and a second later you see Foderingham pick the ball out of the back of the net. Sheffield United trailing by 2 goals to 0. Riyad Mahrez has got them both, 1 on 43 and 1 on 61. And Manchester City are half an hour away from another FA Cup final.
Yeah, I think if you're defending somebody running at you directly through the middle of the goal, you back off, you slow down, but there's a tipping point where you're aware of a potential pass, but what you've got to do is try and get the man on the ball in 2 minds, where he don't think there's a pass on, but you've still got to guard the goal. They failed to do that, and Mahrez, with his experience, kept running and then just slotted the ball in the net.
He was their top scorer last season, and clearly he's not going to end up as the top scorer this season, Riyad Mahrez. He is up to 14 now and 77 in his Manchester City career at a rate of just better than 1 every 3 games. Gundogan in possession, out to Walker, back for Akanji. Akanji turns it to his goalkeeper Ortega, and out towards the left-hand touchline, Laporte. 4 from him to Jack Grealish. Sheffield United beaten in each of their last 5 FA Cup semi-finals, including that never-to-be-forgotten defeat to Sheffield Wednesday back in 93. They lost to Newcastle in 98.
I think I played in that one, Jim.
I was going to say, what were you doing that day? Lost to Arsenal.
Not a great deal, probably.
I heard 300,000 Newcastle fans scream that at the radio as well in unison. Last time they won an FA Cup semi-final was against Leicester. Was against Fulham at Molineux back in 1936. It looks as though that long run is going to continue for the Blades. But for Manchester City, barring something pretty remarkable, bearing in mind the season that they've had, an FA Cup final is on the cards, and the treble chance is very much alive.
This is what surprises me, Jim, and it did in Munich in the week. The fact that Pep at this stage, where for all intents and purposes this game is probably finished, why Grealish and why Haaland are still on the pitch, you know? You would have thought, and maybe even Silva that has played regularly just recently.
Well, he's got Foden that he can bring on. They've won a free kick here because of a foul on Sergio Gomez. The ball is played down towards Grealish. Billy Sharp's going to be coming on for Sheffield United as their second change in a moment. Grealish drilled at Alvarez, who saw the ball hit his left knee and bounce to safety for Sheffield United. Well, they don't have it for long because Akanji picks it up in the midfield, and then Bernardo Silva goes out towards Kyle Walker. Haaland making a run. Egan tries to pass him on and play him offside. Ball goes into a more central area for Gundogan. Out towards Mahrez. Mahrez laid back. Bernardo Silva back for Mahrez again. It was the epitome of laid back with the finish that he show for the second goal. Now Grealish, driving with a little bit more pace inside the penalty area, then stops and lays it in. Oh, it's 3-0. Jack Grealish just waiting for the optimum moment to arrive. And he's fired in left-footed from the edge of the penalty area for a Riyad Mahrez hat-trick. The moment he will never forget. Made by Grealish that time. And he held it up and just waited for Mahrez's run. And he played it perfectly into his path. And the Algerian has a Wembley hat-trick in the FA Cup semi-final. Manchester City, the Blue Moon very much on the rise. And the treble chance gets better and better.
Yeah, as I say, really patient build-up, slid it out to Grealish, and when Grealish gets his head up just inside the box out wide, he's just waiting for someone just to elevate themselves into a position, and it was Mahrez just moved probably about a couple of metres outside the penalty spot distance-wise, and I've got to say, Grealish has picked him out brilliantly. Mahrez, great connection, and the goalkeeper got a hand to it but was beaten.
Well, Manchester City preparing to make a double change now. Foden and Palmer are the players that will come on. And the City fans behind you, Alex Crook, doing the Poznan in delight because they know this is over.
They do indeed. Manchester City fans absolutely ecstatic now. What a bit of play that was. What a great finish from Riyad Mahrez. Billy Sharp coming on here for Sheffield United. The last time they played in a Wembley semi-final, Billy Sharp was in the crowd. He was playing for Doncaster at the time. What a moment for him.
So Sharp about to come on. Manchester City will take Grealish and Haaland off as prescribed by Stuart Pearce. Haaland getting a big ovation, as you would expect, from the Manchester City supporters. 48 goals to his name this season, but none today. Not even a half chance for him today. Phil Foden, back after his recent illness. Appendectomy, he comes on. His first game for Manchester City for a month. Midway through the second half, Manchester City 3, Sheffield United 0, all over by the shouting.
Yeah, it certainly is. As I say, they've been very clinical, certainly in the second half, City, and I've got to say, Sheffield, for all the plaudits I give them for the first half performance, I don't think they've performed at all in this second half and been penned back and give the ball away too cheaply.
So just to confirm that change, Foden and Palmer on for Grealish and Haaland, and Billy Sharp on for Sheffield United as well.
Yeah, as I say, a wise move, I think. As I say, we were speaking about it just earlier. A wise move, certainly. The players coming on need match experience and match fitness. And the players going off certainly have played a lot of football recently and will do going forward to the end of the season.
John Fleck is the player that came off there for Sheffield United to be replaced by Sharp, who's in the action straight away. Ball inside the area. Oh, McBurney's got a chance, and he didn't hit it first time. He couldn't quite. And he just almost embarrassed Sergio Gomez there. Ball travelled a lot further than the Manchester City fullback would have liked. He just gave McBurney a glimmer of an opportunity, but had to hit it first time to take advantage, and he didn't. And the half chance had very quickly disappeared.
Yeah, his problem is McBurney, he was expecting Gomez to clear the ball, and unexpectedly he missed it. And by the time he got his body set, he was never in a position to hit it first time.
Found out by McBurney, and a free kick which will be taken by Manchester City. Let me remind you, coming up Monday, Laura Woods returning with Rangers legend Ali McCoist for breakfast from 6. A reaction to both of the FA Cup semi-finals. We'll be talking about the prospect of Brighton's first FA Cup final for 40 years, or will it be a Manchester derby in the FA Cup final? Could still possibly be the most extraordinary Sheffield United comeback. 20 minutes to go and 3 goals to get back to get this to extra time. I think even the most ardent Blades fans are suspecting that their race is run. That's Laura and Ali from 6 on Monday. If you fancy something different on your morning commute, check out the Chris Evans Breakfast Show, weekdays from 6:30 on Virgin Radio, which you can listen to by downloading the app or on DAB. City trying to work the ball forward, can find Foden, who was superb in that fifth round victory against Bristol City. He's got it again here, Foden. There's a hive of industry in the heart of the midfield and the role that he's playing here. Akanji down towards Gomez. Palmer, who's on the left flank here, just pushing towards the corner of the penalty area. So Palmer has taken Grealish's position. Foden is playing not quite alongside Alvarez. Is more of a 10 really, with Alvarez leaving the line on his own now that Haaland has gone off. Akanji has the ball inside the centre circle. Manchester City 3, Sheffield United 0. And the ball worked for by Mahrez, but Walker is offside.
Yeah, as I say, Sheffield will be looking for the final whistle at this stage. City have come here, they've had a brilliant 4 days, I think, gone and won that quarter-final in the Champions League. Arsenal failed to win last night, and then it's been a reasonably comfortable affair for them when they got their nose in front in the first half, so they'll be delighted with their 4 days' work.
Foderingham plays it forward. Laporte going up for it. McBurney gave him a little shove. The ball beat the pair of them. And it's cleared out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Sheffield United right-hand side. Still going to be a very successful season for Sheffield United, of course, even after defeat today. They're going to be looking at 6 wins in 8 there. You know that promotion to the Premier League is a formality. They won't believe it, the Blades fans, until they're there, of course. But from a neutral's perspective, it's impossible to see any other end of that story, and that will be some achievement. Burney's flicked the ball on here. Billy Sharp's handled it unintentionally, but got it into his stride. Certainly gained an advantage by that, and it will be a free kick that City will take level with the edge of their own penalty area. Sheffield United's end to the season has not been quite as good as some of the football that's preceded it. They've lost 5 games in the last 10 weeks, all of those to top 6 opposition. But nevertheless, congratulations will come their way. A promotion and an FA Cup semi-final in the same season goes down as a pretty remarkable campaign, and credit to Paul Heckingbottom, Stuart McCall and all of their staff. Laporte turning towards the edge of his own penalty area, nudges it away from McBurney, plays it back for Ortega. Ortega getting the ball clear. It's helped on by Foden, but he couldn't find Alvarez. Mahrez will just come and put pressure on Robinson, the Blades defender in possession. He can go back for Foderingham, and Foderingham just calming things down. And he will clear it left-footed over halfway. McBurney going up for it, trying to flick it on. Laporte provided that flick on for him. Akanji dug it clear, but Blades get it back with Njai. Njai down to Armanodzic. And he's been fouled by Palmer. And a free kick to Sheffield United, a yard in from the right-hand touchline in City territory. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, Sheffield, as I say, they're going to have to throw caution to the wind a little bit. I think the game's beyond them, there's no doubt about that. But they're certainly going to have to try and flood some more players forward. There's been some good interchange from McBurney and Sharp.
In comes the free kick from Norwood, headed down by McBurney. Nodded away, though, calmly enough from going to the heart of the midfield, and Manchester City will be able to get it forward down towards the left-hand side, and doing so, Cole Palmer is fouled, and Norwood will get a yellow card.
Yeah, poor challenge there. To be fair, I'm not sure Palmer had the beating of him, but he didn't even try to jockey him in any way, shape or form, just took him out.
Well, here's another change that you were hoping to see. Calvin Phillips coming on, and he'll replace Ilkay Gundogan.
Yeah, it's been a really disappointing season for Calvin Phillips. He's really been a bit part player for City, and it'd be interesting to see what his future is. There's been a lot of City players that have had slow first seasons, if you like, and then come into their own. He's one that I don't know whether teams will be alerted, whether he's available or not, if Pep's looked at him and thought, you know what, he's potentially not for me.
Well, he comes on for the 250th appearance of his senior club career. He's a man who's only started 2 games all season for City. League Cup defeat to Southampton and the 5th round FA Cup victory at Bristol City. The Blades making changes as we speak, and they also making changes, you think, with future battles ahead. Armazodžić gets a big round of applause from the Blades contingent as he leaves the field. And Sander Berge has also been replaced. And George Baldock is the last man to come off. Jayden Bogle is on to replace him. And Chris Basham on as well. So they might have to just shuffle things around. They're going to flatten off to a back four. And it looks that way.
Yeah, I think we talked about City maybe saving 1 or 2 for their games up ahead. I think these substitutions are certainly in order to do that for United as well.
So they've replaced large part of the right-hand side of their team. Arnautovic, Baldock and Berger, the players coming off, and Basham and Koulibaly and Bogle are the players that have come on to replace them.
I think it's a wise move as well by Paul to do that. He's sort of almost matched up a little bit in midfield, but they've got the spare man at the back to go 4 on 3.
Walker finds Palmer. Palmer down to the Manchester City left for Sergio Gomez. Phillips back towards halfway. Laporte poking it forward. Gomez again to Phillips, and Phillips to Laporte, and Laporte will go all the way back to his goalkeeper. High time we caught up with Talksport's football correspondent down behind the goal, Alex Crew.
Yeah, these Manchester City fans all standing, really happy with what they've seen from their team. That hat-trick from Riyad Mahrez, the first ever in an FA Cup semi-final here at Wembley, and the first in an FA Cup semi-final since 1958. I'll let Stuart Pearce tell you who got that one.
Manchester United's Alex Dawson is what he was going to come out with, but I just...
Yeah, I think it was him. In fact, his brother Les Dawson played at the back with him that day.
He did play at the back. He played all of the right notes, just not necessarily in the right order.
Just let everyone know that wasn't pre-planned. You know, you're spontaneous. Sadly,
and I also know that was Eric Morecambe, but you know, Les Dawson had the same shtick.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going for. Here's Manchester City bringing it forward with Sergio Gomez to Phil Foden down towards Palmer. Foden makes a good run behind the defensive line. And Palmer on the bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Goes back for Sergio Gomez again. So Sheffield United playing with a back four now. With Egan alongside Robinson at centre-half. Basham is playing in midfield. Bogle's at right back and Lowe is at left back. They've got Billy Sharp and McBurney up top. Koulibaly and Jai. And then Norwood and Basham slightly deeper in the midfield. Almost 4-2-2-2 at times. Laporte swinging it out towards the right-hand side of the Manchester City midfield. Koulibaly just dropping off on the left-hand side of midfield 3 when they haven't got possession. Pretty much 4-3-1-2 really for the Blades. The ball out of play. There's a throw which will be taken on that Sheffield United left-hand side. Mentioned earlier, City have lost in the semi-finals in each of the last 3 seasons, so Pep will be delighted to get over this hurdle. Blades unable to succeed where Arsenal and Chelsea and Liverpool have in the last 3 years. City's last successful semi-final coming against Brighton back in 2019 with a very early goal from Gabriel Jesus. And City setting up a final potentially against Brighton. But Manchester United clearly are going to have plenty to say about that. And second semi-final coming your way, 4:30 tomorrow here on Talksport. The ball is with Robinson in the midfield for Sheffield United, turned neatly towards McBurney. Nice layoff from him. He almost got Chris Basham in down the right-hand side, and Jai saw him but couldn't divert it past the last line of the City defence as Basham threatened to make a run forward. And City have it again with the hat-trick hero Mahrez. Some achievement, a Wembley semi-final hat-trick, as Crookie was saying, the first that there has ever been in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's certainly some quality on his finishing as well, I've got to say. And Sheffield United are looking a lot better now. They've got players, it's almost a sort of man-to-man scenario. There's less space now, and just getting rid of the extra central defender has helped them get more of a press further up the pitch.
Now we've got 10 minutes to go. Manchester City will just ready Rico Lewis down beneath us, so he's going to be coming on soon. City have possession again over on the right with Walker and Mahrez. It's spun off towards Bernardo Silva. Half-time in the Championship, incidentally, over on Talksport 2. The Lancashire derby at Deepdale is goalless between Preston and Blackburn. If you've got the Talksport app, you can just swipe left, swipe right. You'll be able to continue to listen to that game through to its conclusion. We'll keep you updated with everything in the National League as well. Wrexham looking for the win that will see them promoted back into the league after a 16-year absence. Don't forget here on Talksport at the conclusion of this game, which I very much doubt is going to be going to extra time. You can hear the sports bar and they will take your calls. The reaction to everything that has happened today. 03717 223344. Rico Lewis for Bernardo Silva, the City challenge.
Yeah, as I say, the big three you're looking at, Grealish, Haaland went off earlier, and Bernardo Silva, who's once again impressed me greatly. His ability, his close control, his footballing understanding is absolutely magnificent.
Foden. It was just wrestled away from the ball there by John Egan. He was trying to make a run forward. Ball has gone out of play for a City throw. The referee has pulled play back and given the free kick Manchester City's way. But I think they would rather have had the throw, really, which they could have taken quickly, rather than United getting the chance to regroup. When they do take the free kick, Foden's worked it back inside his own half. It looked a touch on the cynical side from Egan, to say the least, but no yellow card for him.
Yeah, he should have been booked. It was a very poor challenge. Not aggressive-wise, but certainly agricultural.
It's like WWE. Ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Foden towards Palmer. Back from Gomez, down towards Cole Palmer again. Takes it down towards the left-hand touchline. A man that has started one Premier League game in his Manchester City career. It's a good turn from him, taking on Basham, driving inside the penalty area, gets to the byline, tries to play it in. Egan slipping as he tried to block the cross, which must have come close to hitting an arm, but I don't think a penalty would have been given in that instance anyway, as he put his arm down to break his fall, and he goes out of play for a Manchester City throw.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for Paul Heckingbottom and his coaching staff to decode this one afterwards. Obviously there'll be pre-planning for the Premier League.
Gomez playing the ball in, and it's half cleared. Mahrez urged to shoot and try and get a fourth, but thought better of it. Not just a hat-trick, a 23-minute hat-trick as well, which is pretty tidy. Ball out towards Kyle Walker on the Manchester City right. His ball in, and Alvarez couldn't get it under control, and it's bobbled off him and gone out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, pretty impressive, that 23-minute hat-trick. I know certain players in the game that have had 23-year hat-tricks.
Listen, hat-trick's a hat-trick.
Fair point.
Fotheringham will take this goal kick. Just going back to that point that you were making about Sheffield United, assuming that they do win promotion, and no disrespect to Luton and Middlesbrough in saying that, but assuming that they do win promotion, it's just being in a position to make sure that they can compete next season. They did compete well against Manchester City in their last Premier League campaign, but they've got to make sure that they're in a position to compete at the top end of the field as well as at the back end of the field in matches like this if they go up.
Yeah, certainly. As I say, I think you've only got to look at the likes of Bournemouth and Fulham that have been promoted and done extremely well this year, and that's got to be the yardstick they've got to aspire to.
4 games they've got left yet. The Blades at home to West Brom and then at home to Preston before going to Huddersfield and Birmingham in the final week of the campaign. Win any of those and they're up. And Middlesbrough, that's a draw on Monday live on Talksport 2. That takes them to the very brink. They'd only need 1 point under those circumstances then. Well, the ball goes back to the goalkeeper, and Ortega in his orange goalkeeping garb will slam it upfield. It goes over the line, out of play, for a throw that will be taken on the Sheffield United left-hand side. And so what next for Manchester City? Oh yeah, the small matter of that game being billed as the title decider at home to Arsenal, and we've got it for you here on Talksport on Wednesday. Chris Basham making his way down the Sheffield United right, and it's bobbled back into his path, and then he goes down. He's looking for a penalty, and the referee says no. Stuart Atwell immediately throwing both arms across his body. Basham gets back to his feet. The ball goes over the line and out of play for the goal kick, which will be taken by Ortega.
Yeah, Basham's done really well there. Driven forward, got to the ball, and as he's cut inside, what he should have done was carry on going inside. I think he had half a yard. He's decided to cut back again and go outside. And as I say, there was a coming to, but never in a million years a foul.
Koulibaly cutting out a ball through the midfield from Gomez. Bogle has it at the back. McBurney, good layoff from him. Koulibaly in possession again. That's another good ball angled out to the Sheffield United right-hand side for Chris Basham. What the Blades fans who made the journey here would give for a goal, something positive to remember the day by, but it doesn't come from this attack. The ball again is side-footed out for a goal kick that will be taken by Ortega. It's 3-0 to Manchester City with a Riyad Mahrez hat-trick, and we've got 3.5 minutes of normal time remaining on TalkSport.
Yeah, I think when it's been reviewed afterwards, it was so pivotal, that first goal, Jim, wasn't it? You know, Sheffield were playing by far better football than certainly they have been subsequently, and I think that really sort of affected them a little bit tougher than they were hoping it would.
Ortega played the ball out to Foden. Foden was under immediate pressure. He dealt with it. The goalkeeper offered a hand of apology. Foden had to sprint towards the ball. City, as a result of that, have been able to play through the Sheffield United press. They quickly got it to the right-hand side of their penalty area. And Walker has driven forward. Lewis has got it now. He can't quite find a way through. Koulibaly sees to that and then brings the ball out, turns down the cul-de-sac, forced to go back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Robinson likewise forced to go back the wrong way and finds his goalkeeper, and Foderingham clears and just allows Sheffield United a little breather. 87 on the clock, 3-0 to Manchester City. Riyad Mahrez putting the first away from the penalty spot after a foul by Jebison 2 minutes before the break, and they added 2 in a 5-minute spell just after the hour mark. The second, a magnificent marauding run forward, and the third owing so much to some brilliant approach play down the left by Jack Grealish. Palmer finding Lewis, and Lewis will turn, and he's under a little bit of pressure from Norwood, who's stepped up through the lines again. Lewis now out towards the Manchester City right for Walker. Walker helping it forward. Koulibaly winning it back. Walker's given him a little shove. Referee says play on. And Walker down towards the right-hand touchline, checks back, finds Mahrez. Mahrez has got Phillips behind him. He's hardly touched the ball since coming on, Calvin Phillips. He has it now and plays it back under pressure from Njai, and then Njai will chase the back pass as well towards Ortega. Ortega forward to Phillips, and Phillips out to the City right hand side again for Akanji. And City once more doing everything they can to just wear Sheffield United out, really. But that press has continued with intensity with the substitutes that have come on, the likes of Billy Sharp doing everything they can to force errors in those circumstances and scenarios.
Yeah, I think they've certainly showed great spirit in this game, Sheffield United, and their fans should be rightly proud of them.
City in possession with Foden. Foden out towards Walker. I told you it's been a significant day. Rochdale dropping out of League Two into the National League. Wrexham hoping to go the other way, will seal it with victory, and there's been an early goal at the racecourse ground. Ian Abrahams.
There has. Nothing puts a party like a team that want to win the away team, and Liam Love has just put Boreham Wood in front inside 50 seconds. Wrexham 0, Boreham Wood 1, Liam Love with the goal.
What a start. Second place, Notts County won 5-2 away from home today, so Wrexham with a point lead at the top ahead of this their game in hand. Wrexham go to Torquay next week, who all but mathematically relegated after results today. Here's Foden for Manchester City, playing it forward. It could be 4, it's wide though. Alvarez running onto it, took it from Foden into his stride, took a touch to steady himself, and then fired just wide of the diving Fodring.
Yeah, really good play there. Foden just set Alvarez up. And Alvarez, I think the fact he had a sort of semi-break stride slightly, couldn't get the ball exactly where he wanted it. And in the end, it was a decent distance wide from a good opportunity. I think he'd have preferred it further to his left-hand side so he could open up both sides of the goal.
Alvarez, a man who scored 4 goals in the World Cup. He's scored in 2 of his last 3 Premier League games as well. And 3 goals in this FA Cup run. 1 against Chelsea, a couple against Burnley in the quarter-finals. Sergio Gomez taking the throw. We're in stoppage time now, 3-0 to Manchester City. The back end of the first of 3 additional minutes that have been prescribed by the officials. Rico Lewis in the heart of the Manchester City midfield, and he's done really well to come and meet the ball and flick it off for Foden. Foden then out towards the right-hand side. Lewis will continue his run down the right-hand side of the box and win a corner.
Yeah, Lewis has done brilliantly there. A couple of interchanges, and he was pointing where he wanted the ball, and then when he didn't think it was coming, he just checked his stride slightly, and lo and behold, the ball was played at that stage. Just lost the ascendancy, and City have got a corner,
which they've taken short. Here's Cole Palmer. Palmer on the left-hand side of the box as they look for number 4. It's across the face of goal, wide of the far post, and just past the despairing lunge of Foden. Goal kick.
Yeah, and Stuart Atwell's just telling Cole Palmer that the ball bounced over the goalie's hands. I think he's not done the goalie any credit at all there. I think he's got a good touch on that, maybe even 2 gloves on that. I'm looking at. Yeah, I think he's got a little finger on that just to guide it wide. No, might be wrong.
That's the Manchester City fans that are in fine voice as the full-time whistle approaches. 3-0 up with seconds remaining. And Ollie McBurney has given another free kick away, which will be taken on the Manchester City left.
Yeah, they'll just be pleased to see the game out now. City have come and got the desired result. Sheffield have stayed in the game probably until that 40th minute, and for me that was the turning point of the game. Just amateurish defending there, a little bit loose, and all of a sudden you can't give goals away at this standard, not against the Manchester City side.
One last Sheffield United attack, and Jai bringing it forward. The referee has found against him. It'll be a free kick which will be taken by Manchester City, and this may well be the last phase of play of the game. Forward it goes, and that's the last touch. The treble gets ever closer thanks to a Mahrez treble. Manchester City on the Riyadh to Wembley. They will be back here again in the final. 3 successive semi-final defeats, but they've got over the hurdle this time. A brave performance from Sheffield United, undone late in the first half, giving away a penalty. And then Riyad Mahrez, who dispatched that, scored 2 more in a 5-minute spell just past the hour mark, and will leave the Wembley turf with a match ball in his hand. Real Madrid to come, Arsenal to come, and Manchester United or Brighton to come in the FA Cup final. The Blue Moon is on the rise. They believe this is their year to win the lot. You couldn't bet against them. Manchester City 3, Sheffield United 0.